Hey, how's it going? This is Chad Morris, and I am back with another video, and I am super excited about this video because I get to nerd out on music theory and analysis, and I get to play acoustic, which is, it's really my main instrument. It's been my main instrument for a while, but anyway, I was listening to Pat Metheny's Lakes the other day, and I was like, okay, the solo form is different than the head, right? But the solo form is super, super complex. I'm like, man, is this, because it puts you in the mind of giant steps. So I was like, is this harder than giant steps? So I started to transcribe it and realized that, it is definitely more convoluted than giant steps. Pat doesn't really give you any room to breathe until the section in D major. And we'll talk about all that later, but definitely super challenging chord progression. So I said, okay, this would be a good candidate for the modal mapping technique that I came up with. I did a few videos on it. Anyway, it just essentially gives you a roadmap to kind of ease soloing over super terribly difficult chord progressions like these, like ones that kick your butt. And it kicked my butt. It kicked my butt for a week until I could get around it. But anyway, hey, I thought it would make a great video. If you like what I'm doing, give me a like and a sub, and let's get to it. Okay, so the most important thing to do first is to break these chords down into their basic qualities. The genius behind this composition is that this solo form only contains two chord qualities, major and dominant, and it just switches back and forth between major and dominant. Now, in the actual score, it's switching between a major seventh and a dominant sus4 chord. But that doesn't really matter. We don't need the extensions to construct our modal map. I also wanted to point out that since this progression is comprised of both related and distantly related major and dominant chords, there's kind of a thread of a whole tone sound that's like a hidden backbone that holds this composition up. And this is because there are no minor or half diminished chords in the progression. Another way I got comfortable with this form was to outline each chord with three intervals that belong to that quality. These are the notes that are tabbed out. Now we have more information about how the progression is flowing, and we can now construct a modal map to help us get around the form a bit easier. So a basic explanation of modal mapping, it's a system I came up with that uses the shape of a mode to pick out target tones associated with each passing chord. So you may not be actually using the mode associated with that chord. You will be using, most likely, a mode that is still a related mode. It's on another scale degree in that quality, but you're only using it as a frame. Now, when the key center changes, you grab the closest related mode to that new key center, whatever's closest to your current hand position. And this promotes a kind of fluidity that may be difficult to achieve over such a complex chord progression. Here, for instance, for the first chord of the form, D major, we're going to grab the shape of a mixolydian from the sixth string. Okay, and then when the key center changes to C7 to F major, we're going to grab A Phrygian. So A Phrygian is used to facilitate the new key center, C7 to F major. So soloing in the shape of A mixo first, and then sliding into A Phrygian gives you a really seamless kind of sound. It allows you to just weave your ideas throughout the chord progression without thinking too much. You're just thinking shapes. So as we continue, for the key center of A flat 7 to D flat major, we're going to grab the shape of B flat Aeolian. Again, right next to where we were at A Phrygian. Next, for the key center of B7 to E major, we're going to grab the shape of A flat Phrygian. So by now, half of the form is already done. For the key center of D7 to G major, we're going to use the shape of D mixolydian. Now, this is D mixolydian grabbed from the fifth string. And I see a lot of improvisational juice right in this area right here. Next, we go to the key center of B flat major, F7 to B flat major, and we grab B flat Ionian. Now this is probably the only time that you grab the mode associated with the quality that you're soloing over. Otherwise, I mean, at other times we're just using related modes and picking out the target tones that make up that quality that we're currently over. For the next key center of G flat major, given by D flat 7 to G flat major, we're going to use B flat Phrygian here. Continuing on, the new key center of C major, G7 to C major, we're going to use B Locrian here. And this is only to, again, promote fluidity, so we're not changing our hand position too much. For the last chord of A7, we simply change our B Locrian into a B Aeolian, and it delivers us back into D major. And that's where Pat has constructed a landing that we can rest at in D major for a few bars. And that's what I love about this composition. It gives you room to breathe after putting you through hell. It gives you some room to breathe and think about what you want to do next time. But that's the end of the form. So here's what I came up with applying this map in this position. So final thoughts, Metheny's Lakes, it's a very hardcore tune for something that sounds so sweet and beautiful. I mean, you're going from one key center to the next within the same bar. That's tough. However, this type of convolution is balanced with that section in D major. Likewise, Giant Steps is mediated and balanced by a lot of 2-5-1s. There are no 2-5-1s in Metheny's piece. Like I said, I think they're both very fractal-like. And if you can play over them, you can play over anything. I hope you like this analysis video. These are really fun for me to do, but they're also very challenging and time-consuming. So if you'd like to help support me, please check out the links in my description. Thanks for watching.